The Ultraversity, Part 4. Genetical control. No individual can isolate himself from the rest of the race. He is a product of, and a part of, the human family. He is what those preceding him have been, plus such minor evolutionary progress as is manifested in him and the effects of his environment. The characteristics which any individual possesses are the result of elements which he has received from his parents, and they from their parents, ad infinitum, passed on through selective choice, controlled almost entirely by fortuitous and chance factors. The fruition or suppression of these characteristics is controlled to an important extent by the individual's environment. As a result, there is in almost every line of inheritance an enormously broad range of elements which may be inherited in random selection and assemblage by any individual, and the possibility of selectivity affecting some or all of them by environment. Within this randomness, there are, however, in many groups or families traits strongly dominant that may, and in most cases do, affect the social and economic adaptability of the individual. The adaptability may be governed by mental or physical factors or both. An inadaptability that is genetical in origin and affects the physical or mental status is beyond the control of the individual, but may be affected through the internal or external environment. Since he possesses no control over their existence, he cannot, either willingly or unwillingly, assume any responsibility concerning them, and therefore can exert no rights concerning them. Every individual lacks responsibility for his inward physical and mental attributes, but he has control over the next and succeeding generations, and therefore carries responsibilities concerning them. Society possesses the ability to control its composition and its course of evolution. It possesses the accompanying responsibility to do so, and the right to use the facilities needed to accomplish this purpose. Since society in the mass and in its individual members is not omniscient, it does not possess the ability to assume complete control to which omniscient knowledge would be entitled. This lack prevents society from setting the distant course which the race will travel. Each degree of improvement reveals possibilities for progress which were not apparent to us in the lower status. Improvement of the status of the race may be attained in more than one way. The status of the race is the average of all individuals. If the 10% of the population in the highest status were to disappear from human society, the status of the race would be lowered by a numerically larger proportionate amount. Likewise, if the 10% of the population in the lowest brackets were eliminated, the status of the race would be more than proportionately advanced. It is within the ability of society to control the production of the vast majority of the individuals who comprise the lower strata of society. These include individuals who have inherited physical or mental weaknesses which make them social or economic incompetence, or worse. The remainder include those who have been placed in this category through the effects of environmental factors. Control of season of birth seems to offer the simplest and most democratic means for influencing the personality composition of society. Environmental factors may operate to mask inherited weaknesses and the accompanying incompetence, or it may accentuate them. These factors may operate also to mask highly desirable inherited qualities, or may also accentuate them so that they may appear more extensive than is actually the case. In passing judgment on individuals, conclusions should be based, as far as possible, on the operation of a uniformly desirable environment. Many individuals who possess qualities that would be vastly useful to society are prevented from manifesting these qualities in an existing social and economic environment controlled for the selfish interests of a few persons. Before passing judgment on a case in which an unsatisfactory economic or other environment has been operating, an opportunity should be given to respond to a satisfactory economic environment. There are, however, a great many individuals whose inherited physical and mental endowments are such that they would not make useful members of any kind of an organized society, and would transmit similar qualities to offspring. It is the responsibility of society to prevent the mating and breeding of such individuals, and to remove them from among the functioning members of organized society. Society, under Eutocracy, possesses the right to do with the individual anything it sees fit. It will, however, see fit to do only that which is for the best interest of society and the individual. The welfare of society as a whole is more important than the right of any individual to participate in its activities. This is not inconsistent with the responsibility of society to function for the greatest welfare of every and all individuals. Society must, in order to carry out its responsibilities, establish genetical control over every individual. It must establish a system of records in which the physical and mental status of every individual is entered periodically. The records must be kept, not on the basis of the isolated individual, but of the genealogical relationships which include the records of antecedents and descendants. These records will be made and maintained by competent authorities and will furnish the information upon which the participation of the individual in all of the activities of organized society will be controlled. Every individual will be granted the greatest possible opportunities to contribute to society on the basis of his natural abilities, and will not be prevented by lack of money from doing that which he can do best. Genetical control will give us a society based on the greatest utilization of human values to make possible the greatest individual human happiness.